Now to a major development in the growing controversy over AI data centers. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro signed an executive order Tuesday to implement widespread restrictions on the development of data centers in his state. We should know he's considered to be a potential Democratic presidential candidate in 2028. And I'm pleased to say the governor joins us from just outside of Philadelphia. Governor Shapiro, good morning.
Good morning, Kelly. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming on. So, Governor, I was going through your executive order, and you lay out a number of guardrails, including environmental reviews, energy and water reports, and protections against rising electricity costs. You know, all sounds good. But how exactly do you plan to enforce this? And are you all concerned about businesses going elsewhere? Because, Governor, if I'm a tech company, I might just say, well, I'm going to take my ball and go home.
Well, we now have the nation's strictest guardrails when it comes to developing AI data centers in Pennsylvania. And as you correctly point out, it requires a developer to respect our environmental laws, to generate their own power and pay for it. And then third, to gain the support of the local community and to hire locally and make sure there is a local benefits agreement. All of that needs to be memorialized in what is a legally binding consent order now with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to make sure it's enforced. As to your question about them going somewhere else, we've seen too many developers who are trying to bulldoze our community with these speculative deals that are never going to come into reality, and they're wreaking havoc on our neighbors. I don't want them here in Pennsylvania. If you've got a serious proposal that enjoys the support of the local community, that protects our environment, that generates power, then we're willing to talk to you and engage with you. And that is our plan here in the Commonwealth now, with the strictest requirements in the entire country.
Oh, Governor, I confess I was surprised because previously you've been very bullish on data center development. You helped secure a $20 billion investment from Amazon. You helped get support from the local communities, just to call back to what you just said. And in your own words, you said it would ensure the future of AI runs right through Pennsylvania. So what prompted that 180?
You know, I listened. Candidly, I showed up in communities and heard the concerns of neighbors. I stood in the left field line of Eddie Stayback Park in Lackawanna County, Pennsylvania, and looked where a data center developer who was wreaking havoc on a community wanted to put their data center right where the parents would be sitting watching a ball game. I'm just about 7 miles away from a proposed project in a really densely populated area here in Montgomery County where a developer is just thumbing his nose at the community, not listening to folks. These are not the kind of projects I want in Pennsylvania. I don't want things that the community is not going to want in their backyards. And so, look, I listened. I think it's important for elected leaders to actually get the vibes of a community, to listen, and to be able to be flexible, to be able to work with a neighborhood. And so,
but Governor, I hear you on listening to Pennsylvanians, but frustrated constituents, they tend to become motivated voters, right, every few years. To what degree is this move a political calculation with your own election coming up this fall, but also a potential 2028 run? Because AI data centers, they have become a flashpoint across the country when it comes to these elections.
It's not about politics. It's about the people and the communities here in Pennsylvania who took the time to text me and call me and chat with me at a rest stop or a ball game and tell me how they feel, and then making sure that I incorporated their feelings in the legally binding executive order I signed yesterday to ensure that their views are heard in this process. I don't want developers running roughshod across our communities. That's not what happened a year ago when I did work with Amazon to bring those 2 data centers here in Pennsylvania. But increasingly, developers see an opportunity to take advantage of Pennsylvanians. I won't let it. Look, Pennsylvania has a long history, whether it's through coal or logging or other resources or minerals, where companies would show up, they'd extract value from the lands of Pennsylvania, and then they'd split. I want to make sure that if a developer is coming here to Pennsylvania, they respect the will of the people, they respect our communities, and they work with us, not against us. And this executive order now requires them to work with us. It levels the playing field, and it puts the people before those powerful developers.
Governor, let's talk about the midterms very quickly. Another big win for the Socialist Party, the Socialist part of the Democratic Party in Florida. Are you concerned about this? Do you think that the party's on the right track? they seem to be gaining traction, the socialist part of the Democratic Party. Are you concerned?
Well, hey, Gayle, good morning, and thanks for your question. I'll tell you what I was paying more attention to last night. We had a special election right here in Pennsylvania for the state house, a district that had been held by the most conservative member probably in the history of the state house about a decade ago, really the beginning of the MAGA movement, and a district that Donald Trump won by 18 points. In the last election. The incumbent Republican state rep won by 30, and we won that district last night with a middle-of-the-road community leader who I backed, who won this improbable race. What I think we're seeing here in Pennsylvania more than anywhere else, I'm not an expert on those races in Florida, Gayle, but what we're seeing are common sense folk from the community who I think reflect a lot more my values and my approach to governing, who are winning and upsetting Republicans.
I hear that, Governor. I do. I hear that very clearly. But there seems to be the Democratic Socialist part of the party is picking up steam. Are you concerned at all about that? Or do you think it's okay for now, but when it comes to the general, it's going to be a whole different ballgame?
Yeah, I think we have to see what happens in the general election. But what's also clear is there is a ton of passion in the electorate right now and a desire to defeat Donald Trump's chaos and cruelty and corruption, and people are showing up in record numbers. Our party is going to certainly have an ideological battle. It's going to have a real debate over these ideas going forward. But the thing we've got to focus on is winning in these midterms and defeating Donald Trump and his enablers.
Well, we will see how that turns out, Governor. Really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.